whoever's going to hit their threes.
Yeah, I mean, I think Boston defensively they'd probably embarrass them. But I at the same time, looking at the other options coming out of that play-in, I'd be more excited about the Bulls against Boston than Atlanta.
Oh, the Bulls, Atlanta, Boston is not even something to write about. It's over. Orlando
Boston, got players. They got a lot of injuries this year. They had a setback, but I see Orlando being a team that will be good in the coming years.
So you can see out of the 4 teams, Atlanta, Miami, Orlando, Bulls. You see Bulls and Orlando coming out of that.
Sure, why not?
Okay, we're 10 games away. So there's
25th.
playoffs.
I'll say that.
So then you have basically 2 teams that are battling for 5 and 6. The Bucks and Detroit have similar records. I see that happening all the way to the end of the year. I don't see either of those teams like making a huge run anywhere.
Yeah.
I think both of them can be defeated by the teams that are 4 and 3. I think Indiana's showing a lot of life, and I still believe the Knicks are going to the second round. The question is, if you're the Knicks, are you the 4 or the 3? Because Indiana is coming up fast, and the Knicks are. I feel like they got a 4-cylinder. They need
scare me.
They need an 8-cylinder. But you're not playing the Pacers until you would not play the Pacers until the finals of the Eastern Conference.
If they got it that far, sure.
Correct. So the Pacers could be 3, you could be 4, which means your matchup would be Milwaukee or Detroit still, because 5 and 6 are going to be similar.
Right.
And then you would have to play Cleveland, which is currently the 1 seed, and I don't see them losing that.
Yeah. And, I could eat a lot of crow for it, but I do, I want to say Detroit scares me more than Milwaukee. Because they're kind of young and hungry and unpredictable, and we've talked about them before.
I just think the Eastern Conference is an easier conversation because there's not as many great matchups with these great veteran players. It's hard for me to fathom a team getting out of the East that isn't Boston. I can cheer for it. I can hope for it. I can say, oh, these are all the reasons why, but it's not happening.
And to that point, Cleveland has lost some tough ones lately. I think before their last win, I think they actually had 4 losses in a row for the first time. I'm trying to pull it up quick, but Cleveland has really started to come back down to earth.
They have. They're 6 and 4.
I don't really come back down to earth, but they beat the Jazz. Before that, they lost to the Suns, they lost to the Kings, they lost to the Clippers, and they lost to the Magic.
I see them resting some players. They're figuring it out. And again, they're so far ahead of Boston. I shouldn't say that. They're 4.5 games. So they would have to go 5 and 5, and Boston's got to finish out, undefeated. And I just don't see that happening. Like, they're going to finish the season 7 and 3. Cleveland should be fine. They should end up with a 1 seed. Again, in a week, we could be going, the 1 seed's up for grabs. They're 2.5 back now. I mean, a lot can happen in 3-4 games if Cleveland keeps losing to what it could have, should have been.
It's interesting that they've had this little mini losing streak right around the time that Tatum got injured, because that could affect Boston. They could lose a few games that they aren't likely to lose with him.
I think it will be interesting to see who the Bulls get as a 2 seed. And Orlando, I think that'll make it a little more interesting. I think those teams have something to say. They can ramp it up. Orlando's 5 and 5. Atlanta's 7 and 3. I know we're discrediting them, but they are one of the hotter teams. And Miami's 1 and 9. So Miami's like, hey, we're trying not to be 10, but I think we're pretty much 10.
Yeah.
Because even if they go 1 and 9 the rest of the way, Toronto's got to go like 5 and 5, which is difficult for them.
I don't think it's crazy to think Pat Riley would love for Miami to end up in the lottery.
Wouldn't surprise me one way or the other. So to me, the Eastern Conference has less has less like mystery because we have bunches. We have these like Tour de France riders. You got 3 teams that are neck and neck. You got 2 teams that are neck and neck.
Yeah.
You got, you got several different wings because you got 11 teams to play with. So the Western Conference has 3 and then another 3, possibly